Eric, you ready?
Let's go.
We decided, Eric, to call this episode "The Last Defender." You know, and can you explain why we thought of that?
Well, I think he's just the last defender of his generation, really, and with the deepest amount of respect, I think Sandesh is that type of player that you know does what defenders do, which is defend. And not to say that he can't play with the ball at his feet because he's playing at the highest level in the country. He's played more than 50 times for India, but he's done it so well, so consistently well throughout his career. I think he's a bit of a dying breed. And you watch the way that he plays, he's no nonsense. He's got that natural ability, but there's more to it than that. There's positioning, there's heading, there's tackling. And a lot of people, especially the younger generations, don't find that to be trendy or attractive. But for the real, people of the game, they understand that that's a big part of football. And I think he's just that last defender, literally in the line, but also of his generation. That's why I think there's a good name for the episode.
Sandesh, this is a day and age of goalkeepers and are they good with their feet? Ball playing centre backs is something we call. Recently, with Pep Guardiola, the false fullback or the false centre back, so many things. But there's this your breed of defender, no nonsense, like Eric said it, raw power, positioning, very centre back traits. Do you think it's a dying breed? Would you agree with Eric that that kind of a defender is slowly going away from the sport?
I don't consider myself as the last breed or something. I think it's a very quick observation, a very quick judgment when we do it on a player. For me, as a center back, as a defender, I play fullback as well. The way I put food on the table, the way I take care of my family, how I do it is because when I do those things, I keep the house clean. I keep clean sheets. So that's my bread and butter. Your base should be a solid defender. When you think of clean sheets, when there is so many attacks happening, when you see the number nine is top player, you need to have someone in your team to look up to and say, hey, okay, we got Jhingan there, no worries, he'll manage. And then comes the system of the team. When I was playing under Habas, what I was asked for, I did. Same under Simon, same under Steve Coppell, same under Kwan, same under Rene, same under David James, same under Igor. What I am asked to do in a certain system, I do it. For example, this time in under Igor, he gave us a liberty. No matter what it takes, you take risk, even inside your box. If something goes wrong, I'll take this is how we're going to go ahead. This is the next evolution of the national team. And I did that pretty brilliantly. Same under Kwan as well. When I was under him, when he asked, like, this is how we're going to play. And I did that and I was playing every game. So what you need to look at is in span of 10 years, I've never sat on the bench and I've played under many different coaches from the national team as well. So the way I look at football is simple. Defend, do your job, and then do what the system wants. If the system wants me to make a pass right in front of the goal line, I'll do that. If the system wants to clear the ball, no matter what in the defensive third, I'll do that. So this is how I look at it, but I understand the criticism, I understand the judgment. I think it's a very narrow-minded without being arrogant or trying to offend someone. I think if you look deep into it, you understand more of it rather than just a quick observation and
Right.
taking a
There's
judgment.
something important you mentioned there, pardon me, where you said everyone wants to be the number nine, and the way you describe defending, it's a selfless job. In a way, you can't be very selfish as a defender. You, of course, in the air when you go up for a corner, you can claim a ball, but it's a selfless job, and sometimes it's a thankless job. How do you how do you inspire if there was a young player, 10-year old, coming up to you and saying, Sandesh Bhai, this is what I want. How do you inspire somebody to become a defender and not a winger or a fullback or a striker?
No, I even started as a winger. I always wanted to be a number 10 back in the day. Now I think I think number
Nice.
10 is the kind of position not many people want to play. Uh, but it has to come from inside, you know. It's nowadays when I meet, especially the boy who came now, was very excited, and he was like, I started playing defense because of you. I think he was 13 or 14, I don't know his age, but looked very small. And he said, I started playing defense because of you. And every second day, whenever I go out and when I meet people, I'll always find two or three kids, boys and girls. They say like we start want to play defenders because of you. So I think it's just what you do on the pitch. If it might trigger someone and feel like, like you said, it's a selfless or thankless. I don't look at it that way. I think the finest quote to ever give appreciation to any defender or the people there was by Sir Alex. That strikers win you games, but defenders win you trophies. I think that's pretty much sums it up, the importance of that role. But it's just how you play and if it inspires them, because it's not just defending and it's so much involved into it. So I think it's for me it's the best position on the pitch. And of course I was still if I could go back in time, I would love to be number 10, but centre back is class, man. It's just because the way you look at football from there is different because you're always the last guy there, and you have so much, you with the football is very less, 2-3 minutes maybe maximum you get involved with the ball, but the other 89 minutes, you're so involved. You have to see so many tactics. You need to see what they are doing. Now, if they're going the channel, if they're attacking them more, or if they're putting a number six too deep, you have to take so many decisions
Yeah.
during the game. So that way, so I think if people look at football that way, I think it's the best position, because it's just every game or every training session is like a proper, like a class of football. You could study
Hmm.
so much in one game. You could see the fullback struggling with his left foot, or he's getting this problem. Then you need to tell your winger to do this, so it's constant thinking, which I really enjoy in that position. I think people, when they look at it that way, I think they will love playing this
Hmm.
position because it's just beautiful to just stand there and boss.
I like that. I like that. Eric, let's bring it back to this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's been one of your best seasons on record, and I think you have to agree that the move to Bengaluru is certainly, fitted both you and the club. Um, you had such a great season. I knew that you going there with Sunil, with Guprit, like-minded individuals around you, particularly after your long injury layoff and all those things that happened. Um, was that the best football you've played in your career? Do you think this season?
What I admire or what I respect myself about is that each year from the season one, I played
Mm,
in the ISL. Every year I hear, uh, this is the best season, you had. This is the best season you got captaincy at the age of 23, or this is the best season you played under pressure, you got this thing done. So for me, the way I look at success is longevity and consistency. So when you match these two, I think it's a very successful season for you.
mm,
And when the longer you do it, the more successful you are as an athlete. So coming down to this season, I think I did manage to do that. I think I was able to be part of all the games and performed at a very consistent level, had the longevity without having an injury during the season. So I would say it was one of the finest seasons. But to make a judgment, I think I would rather make it uh, in the final season of my career to pick one
mhm.
out because I'm always happy, proud, and more hungry. I don't know if that was a word, but just more excited when I hear these words because I know next year I'm going to do something again.
Yep.
And then again, I might do a podcast and someone might say, oh, this
Hmm.
was the best season maybe you have had. So my aim is just to keep getting better each season,
There was 5 years ago, I think 5 or 6 years ago, we met in Kochi, and you gave me a wonderful freewheeling interview. You invited me to your room, and you were absolutely fantastic the way you spoke that day.
Yeah.
And you
Mm.
mentioned something which has stayed with me, that when you were young and you started watching India play, you would make the lineup in your head and you'd be like Goramangi and
Mm.
Mahesh Gowli at centre back today. There's that,
Yeah.
and now to see yourself being centre back, but at the same time, Mahesh Gowli seems to have had a massive impact on you. You mentioned him even after the SAF triumph in terms of the defensive work he's put in. He's one of the stellar
Mm.
centre backs of the country. What is it like getting coached by somebody who you've always looked up to as an inspiration?
The reason I wanted to become a professional footballer was not the Manchester United or the Ronaldo's or back in the days, the players. For me, it was just the national team players that I want to be wearing the national team jersey, play for India. And then I got to understand, oh, you can earn money out of football as well. You can have clubs level. So for me, that was the focus. And to watch them from the TV, and then I was very lucky when I made my when I got the professional contract. I got in a club of Viking Bhutia, who was back in the days like a godlike figure for all of us. So been very lucky throughout my career. In my first season in the I League, I had Anwar Paji. He was brilliant in my starting years, and I had Mangi Bhai also. I got into the national team. He was there. Subroto Bhai was there. So all throughout my whole journey, I've been very lucky. If I want to talk about the Indian players who have helped me, coached me, and all the players who are of my age and the coming ones also, I think that's how the legacy goes on. Hopefully we will inspire some.
You've had an amazing journey, Sandesh. Obviously, back to your Sikkim days and all those hardships trying to make it as a professional footballer. I know what it's like in
Mhm.
terms of becoming hardened, breaking down and getting injured and things like that. You come back from those things and you become mentally strong. You just
Mhm.
don't turn out one day and I decide I'm mentally strong. What strikes me with you, mate, is that you keep things very close to your chest, very inside your own head, and I know it's for good reason. Can you
Mhm.
explain to us why you feel as though that's your place to keep things close to your chest? Is it because that circle of trust just becomes smaller as you get older and more experienced?
Of course, that's the way I am, and I've heard it many times that how I am off the pitch and on the pitch is two totally different people. But that's the way I like living. Off the pitch, I don't talk a lot. I'm always in my zone. But it just came with age also. But it's just I was like this before also. So you rather speak when you know it's gonna make a big difference. So I say my
Mm,
words for the right occasion and the right place. And about my journey and whether it made me mentally stronger or not, I always believe strongly that people often say about the mentality of athletes. It's very hard. It's very like strong. But I've said it before. Like we are just very small part of the real mentality. I've
mm.
always said if you want to see real strong people, mentally strong people, just take a ride, go outside, walk on the street, and you'll understand
Yeah,
how weak you are and what the real people are. Or go to a hospital. Uh, and from a young age, I witnessed a lot of things, not like everyone, how they go through. So that what made me how I am today. And the finest thing, which I believe, and I always want kids to know about this, is like it's a small quote that regardless, whatever you have, there's always someone who has suffered more than you. There's always someone who's achieved more than you as well. So be content and always push to get better.
Sandesh, it seems that it's your presence on the pitch is such a, and I think I asked you this years ago as well. It's such an antithesis to who you are as a person, because you come across as somebody who's sensitive. You come across s- as a person who, if you went to the movie theater and you were sitting next to me and there was an emotional scene going on, you'd probably have tears in your eyes. It's like a big friendly
Not
giant kind
tears.
of person, and and on the pitch you're bullying people off.
Mm,
And I know there are two different roles, but would you define yourself as a
mm.
sensitive, emotional person?
I always was shy. Was my wife always calls me mama's boy, and I was always shy. Like don't say it in open and all. But I'm kind of over it now. I'm actually a mama's boy. I love my mother. I'm always, even when I go back now, I love to put my head on her lap and I just sleep next to her. I like, I'm a little bit of that side, so I'm not shy to accept it. Since my wife says you need to be brave to accept it. But yeah, I'm a little bit, I don't know how you want to call it, but of course, both are different sides. And that's how God made me. That's how I like living. And of course, on the pitch, it's a different role. It's a war zone. Like, it's a different mentality. You gotta go there. You need to shed your blood, whatever it takes for the win. You have to do it. And when you come off the pitch, it's just I like to. I think I spend all my energy there on the pitch. That's why when I come off it, I'm just like, just chill out and just stay in my zone. But yeah, you can say it like that.
I want to talk about trademarks for a second, Sandesh, and we talked about this off air earlier about you possibly cutting your beard. Don't do that, mate,
Mm.
because
Long hair.
I was in the similar frame of mind when I was playing in India that everybody knew me
Mm.
because of my beard and the man bun. I'm not sure what they I'm not sure what they remembered of me and my playing style.
Mm.
But one trademark I think that everyone will know Sandesh Jhingan by is the way that you can go in and slide tackle.
Yeah, I know that.
You are literally that last defender getting in and making those last ditch
Mm.
tackles. And there's a Paolo Maldini reference that says, if I have to make a tackle, then I have already made a mistake.
That's what I'm.
A
Yeah.
lot of
Mm.
footballers will base their game around that, but it's not, it's not really relevant to the modern
Mm.
day game. It's so quick. And I think with you, it's the complete opposite. You have to make those last ditch tackles because it's part of your game. Is that a fair assumption?
When I go to a game, I always hope I don't have to go to the ground and all, because you want to come out from the game. When you make a slide and all, it's actually painful. You stretch so many muscles, and you get kicked, you get stamped. There's blood always in my shins, and there's. But when I go to a game, I want to avoid all that. And of course, every now and then you have those clean games when everything is not that difficult. But I'd rather be there, read it, and depend a lot on my agility, speed, or whatever. And whatever it takes, whether it's with my head, just a nice position clearance header, or a nice clearance, the feet, for the last moment just to read it. And now it's ball's gonna go there, and I just make in time and just put my toe in there and poke the ball out. I'll do it, and I'll do it 1,000 times if I have to do it, rather than standing there, not being in the position also, and we concede a goal. So always I like myself to be
Mm.
judged on the clean sheets if I have to make them with 10,000 sliding tackles or 10,000 clearance headers, whatever it takes. Clean sheet is what it all matters. All these sports and all, they make a big. But football back in the days was different. Football is a lot different now. I won't. Paulo Maldini is one of being my heroes. Paulo Maldini and Vidic. I look back at centre backs.
Yeah. I'm trying to focus on the positive things. I just see a lot of similarities with how I had to have my career, and in terms of what you're saying about being a defender, as you take great joy in the small things, celebrating with your teammates and goalkeepers, and I love to see it. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of scrutiny that comes with it, and your career is
Mm-hmm.
being watched ever since you've been 18 years of age, and a lot of stuff that you probably didn't want to have to put up with. And one of them was having your jersey retired, and then for all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of years later, the same team burning that jersey. I mean, does that impact you?
I won't. If I think I would be a liar if I would say like no, I would just let it go. Of course, it hurts your feelings, but it was totally. Of course, first leaving KL was a very tough decision for the club and for myself also. But I said before, when injuries come, a lot of things change for footballers. So after my ACL, whatever happened with me in Kerala, we both, the club and me, we decided mutually to go ahead different paths, and I was okay with it. The club was also okay with it. Then it was their decision to decide retire the jersey. I had full respect for it. And then what happened on the pitch, I think it's been talked many times, but as me and myself
Mm,
here was never targeted towards the club. I had a conversation with my teammate. What I said was really wrong. I'm very sorry for it. Whether I put it on the club or the team, I shouldn't say those words. First of all, so I was very upset with myself. But sometimes on the pitch, you tend to say things which you don't mean to. That's how it is sometimes in football. And I was really upset over me, over my words. But I apologize to the fans, apologize to the whole country, and yeah. But then whatever happened for me, sometimes people say that. I think people have this assumption that now I don't like Kerala Blasters. I don't like Kerala. Come on, my best mates are from Kerala. I will always love Kerala. So Kerala will always be part of my life. You can't just break off relations. I was there 6 years and I know everyone there. So yeah, but it is what it is. I can't change it. I'm sorry for what I did, but life goes on. It's everything happens for a reason. So I'm sorry for what I did, but Just life goes on. That's it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Sandesh, your mentality has always been something that comes to the fore. I think more also for centre backs, it comes more. You can see it more even on the screens, like the emotions and all of that. But this is one thing. How do you deal with? I don't know whether baggage is the right word, but how does one deal with the disappointment of losing four finals? Like, do you at some point think,
Mhm.
"Oh my God, here we go, another final, and am I going to win it?" Does it get difficult with each passing final that was lost?
And of course, you want to win all of them, but it's a lot of disappointment when you don't win it. But would it make a difference? I would have won all four of them right now if I would be having a podcast and I would have won all four. Would you call me the best center back in the history of Indian football? So it doesn't. We'll still have those. You'll
Right.
find something else. Oh, he hasn't won the sheet. Oh, he hasn't. I've lost four finals, but I think I've won pretty much a lot as well. So it's always about how you look at the glass. If you see it half empty or half full. So I've won many things in my career, and being there in four finals, I think it's also a big achievement. Not many clubs have been to four finals, and to lose twice on the penalties, twice in 90 minutes, it's just like a flip of a coin. It happens, but I'm always proud of myself. I've been involved in I think eight ISILs, seven and a half, and I've been to four finals, five playoffs. I think that's a pretty decent record. So every 2 years I'm in the final. So I think I take a lot of joy in that, a lot of pride in it,
Mm.
and that's the target. If you want to win it, but the target should be each year to better yourself, better your team, make sure the players around you also improve a lot. And then if you're reaching that stage every year, I think it's not a very big disappointment. I'd rather be more disappointed if I wouldn't have made to any final. And then you all say like, oh, he's never lost a final. So would that be more better, or at least being there, just in touching distance? But
In terms of gauging that success, Sandesh, you've moved for some big clubs. Now, FC Goal has always been there or thereabouts. Now they're in a bit of this transition. They've gone and got Manolo, and now they've partnered yourself with O'Day. We presume in the centre of defence. Does this club give you the best possible chance next season at winning a trophy?
I think it's more about what I give the club, when I push the club in the right direction where we can grow together as a family, as a club, and be more consistent in our playing style, in our performances, and then push for the title. So I look at more what I'm going to give to the club. And of course, Goa has a rich legacy. They've always been right up there. And yeah, with Manolo coming, was one of the biggest reasons why I moved to Goa also. And O'Day coming, and all the signed Indian boys as well. Uda coming, Borges, Boris. I think it shows the intent of the club.
Right. Sandesh, do you have your little notebook, the pocket notebook in which you write? You have it lying around? Can you recite a nice little poem or a few lines from it from us? Because I leave it up to you. If you're shy, it's totally okay. But if you're not, we would love to hear some lines from your notebook or something you've written lately.
All my poems and songs is for my daughter now, so I'm keeping them nicely locked in my what do you call that, Almira. So it's all for her when she start reading. So everything I write and everything I think is about her and my wife. So all songs are for them and all poems are for them. So nothing to share.
Which is quite a change from 5 years ago when you were writing about warriors and tanhai, which is loneliness.
No, it's just different phase of your life. I actually stopped writing the way I used to write back in the days was a lot, but then I felt it just takes too much from you emotionally. I don't know, I'm not going to sound a little bit strange, but it just takes away too much from you when you pick up the pen. And so I didn't want it that emotional drainage from me every time. So I kind of,
We had a conversation with Alvin, who does the analysis at Bengaluru, and he had some wonderful insights to give from your former club as you look forward to your next one about what you can add to a team, what you add to the atmosphere. And this is what he had to say.
Yeah, of course, he's going to be a big miss for us at PFC. Like I mentioned earlier, he's a mentality monster and an old school defender. They don't make players like him anymore. You'd hardly ever see him going down and staying on the ground for too long. Whenever he gets a knock, he's always up and he's running again. Apart from that, he's been fantastic with the younger boys. He's always speaking to the younger defenders. He's always trying to explain to them. He's always trying to part his knowledge with these boys, and trying to explain to them as to what they can do better, or where they can make a change in terms of what they're doing. And not just the defenders, but he even speaks to the younger forwards at the club, where he's trying to tell them what the defender thinks and what he could have done. He's one of those leaders that you want to have in your squad.
So how does that make you feel, Sandesh? Such a wonderful, glowing review.
Well, this just makes me happy. Um, so yeah, I made some brilliant friendships here. Not just Robin, everyone, Akash, Kunal Bhai, also the whole staff at BFC. Erik knows it. They're really brilliant people at the club, and they've been really nice to me. Of course, I'm gonna miss them. Uh, but yeah, it's the same old school dialogue I have. Life goes on. Let's see where life takes us ahead.
Good luck, Sandesh, then. And we hope that life takes you to wherever you want life to take you to. Ladies and gentlemen, honest, candid, and to the point. That was the last defender, Sandesh Jhingan. Until next time, thank you for tuning in to Off the Pitch.